In this podcast episode, Joe Rogan welcomes comedian and actor Harland Williams for an engaging conversation covering a wide range of topics. They discuss personal anecdotes, the nature of marine submarines and nuclear deterrence, alien life and underwater bases, the evolving landscape of entertainment, including AI's impact, animal behavior and ecology, historical human evolution, as well as the dynamics of the entertainment industry and comedy. The episode opens with a humorous yet somber personal story from Harland Williams about memorial tattoos he has, including one for a Billy, who, as the conversation unfolds, turns out to be a service animal rather than a human child. The tale involves a tragic accident where Billy was hit by a truck carrying medical supplies and then fatally struck by a fallen respirator. The emotionally laden story is shared with some levity, touching on the ironies of life and loss. The discussion lightly veers into curiosities about goat meat and culturally sensitive topics like animal fighting, with Harland revealing some experiences in different neighborhoods resembling Mexico culturally. The conversation shifts into a historical discussion about political violence, especially dueling in the 1700s and 1800s. Joe and Harland explore famous duels, such as Andrew Jackson's duel and the fatal shootout involving Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton. They reflect on the concept of dueling as a method of resolving honor disputes and jokingly speculate on hypothetical combat scenarios involving politicians or pilots. The topic expands to congressional brawls, most notably the 1856 incident where Representative Preston Brooks attacked Senator Charles Sumner with a cane after an anti-slavery speech. The discussion highlights the violent roots embedded in political culture and humorously imagines a UFC-style fight in the White House. Harland shares insider-like knowledge about the U.S. Navy's nuclear submarine fleet, discussing the stealth and power of Ohio-class Trident submarines and their continuous patrols. They touch on the fleet's size, with estimates ranging between 12 to over 70 submarines worldwide, emphasizing the secrecy surrounding their deployment and crew numbers, which number in the tens of thousands collectively. The conversation covers the submarine's capabilities, including carrying multiple nuclear warheads with devastating potential, and the operational secrecy even within the U.S. military and government. There is also playful banter about life aboard submarines and the gender ratio among submariners. The talk pivots to the speculation about extraterrestrial life, focusing on the theory of underwater alien bases. The guest Harland mentions claims by UFO researcher Tim Burritt about several, 3 to 5, underwater bases within U.S. waters where crafts with advanced transmedium technology operate, capable of moving seamlessly between air and water at high speeds without detectable resistance. They contemplate possible motives and advantages for alien civilizations to reside underwater, including remaining concealed from humans, and discuss James Cameron's exploration of the Mariana Trench as a point of reference for the depths aliens might utilize. The conversation expands on how advanced beings might observe humanity covertly, comparing it to anthropological studies of less developed human tribes. Rogan and Harland muse on human curiosity and the ethics of interacting with isolated, uncontaminated human tribes like those on North Sentinel Island or in the Amazon. They discuss the delicate balance between contact and preservation of such cultures, expressing a wish to leave them uncontacted to maintain their unique lifestyles without the influence of modern society. The guest mixes humor with respect when describing these groups and contrasts them with modern culture, reflecting broadly on human interaction with the unknown and notions of evolution and progress. The discussion lightly touches on personal grooming habits humorously, including nail grooming, considered by some as indicators of behaviors like drug use. They also speculate about military signals, phrases like "Roger that," investigating its origins and clarifying common misconceptions. This transitions into humorous banter about pirate traditions and the utility of eye patches in managing night vision, blending pop culture, history, and communication lore. Harland talks about his fitness journey, demonstrating his impressive physique enhanced by unconventional methods like ice baths involving Gara-rufa fish, also known as doctor fish, that nibble away dead skin. He highlights the combined effects of his intense workouts, malaria medication, and fish therapy, noting how these contributed to his transformation into what he calls a new race, jokingly acknowledging the striking difference in his leg muscles compared to his upper body. Joe compliments Harland's dedication, and they share laughter about the appearance and skin tone differences, infusing the conversation with camaraderie. The conversation turns serious when the topic of OnlyFans and the adult content industry arises. Harland reflects, somewhat skeptically, on the culture surrounding OnlyFans, mentioning its prevalence among young women and the difficult choices some make for financial reasons. Joe shares his perspective as a father regarding the moral and emotional complications if a daughter were to engage in such work, emphasizing the importance of open communication, human understanding, and guiding younger generations without harsh judgment. They evaluate the complex dynamics between earning potential, self-worth, societal perception, and long-term consequences for young content creators. Harland expresses optimism about AI's role in democratizing creativity and innovation, arguing that AI tools allow everyday people, regardless of background, to unlock their artistic and inventive potential. He compares the limited pool of traditionally recognized classical artists with the broad creative possibilities enabled today by AI, expecting a surge in diverse creative outputs across various fields. Joe discusses personal experiences in animation and entertainment, examining how AI facilitates production at a fraction of past costs, enabling projects that were formerly unattainable. They also acknowledge potential downsides, but stress AI's role as a progressive stepping stone in human development. The episode dives deep into metaphysical discussions about the nature of reality, programming, and simulations. Harland and Joe consider the universe as a vast, intricate program rather than simply organic evolution or random chance, exploring the idea that life, consciousness, and intelligence might be part of a deliberate process. They ponder the role of good and evil in balance, the purpose of suffering, and the idea that artificial life and intelligence might be the next evolutionary step. Various analogies about oceanic mysteries, quantum physics, and cosmic phenomena are referenced to challenge conventional understandings of reality. They discuss the simulation theory, contrasting it with a program metaphor, emphasizing experiential reality even if governed by underlying code. Further exploring nautical traditions, the podcast delves into the origins of terms like Jolly Roger and Roger That, debunking myths linking the two, and uncovering the real historical sources related to radio communication. The functionality and usefulness of eye patches among pirates in night environments are explained, adding historical depth. The dialogue mixes humor with folklore, marine history, and the evolution of communication in seafaring culture. Harland and Joe explore the fascinating and sometimes disturbing territory of human evolution, touching on hybridization experiments, specifically referencing attempts by Soviet scientists to create human-ape hybrids for wartime applications. They discuss the limits of genetic compatibility, the ethical and scientific challenges, and historic and modern advancements possibly leading to similar experiments today via gene editing technologies like CRISPR. The conversation reflects on hybrid animals like liggers and insights into ancient human subspecies discoveries such as the Denisovans. The complexity and gaps in the fossil record are highlighted, along with speculation on how many hominid variations once existed. A large portion is devoted to discussing wolves, coyotes, and their role within ecosystems. Harland expresses a cautious admiration for wolves as critical components of nature, while Joe takes a more protective stance towards humans, emphasizing safety and real conflicts wolves cause when encroaching into human spaces, particularly ranches. They dissect the mythology, behavior, and realities of wolf attacks, coyote adaptation, and animal fear responses. Broader ecological impacts, such as the effect of wolves on elk populations and river ecosystems, are debated, referencing popular narratives and scientific critiques. The discussion also touches on the reintroduction of predators, legal and social conflicts arising from it, and the balance between animal conservation and human interests. Harland shares his journey in comedy and acting, including anecdotes about his sitcom experiences, the nuances of performing for live audiences versus filmed sitcoms, and challenges of the entertainment industry, including ratings woes. They reflect on the decline of traditional multi-camera sitcoms, differences between live audience comedy and single-camera productions, and how changes in viewing habits and social media have influenced the industry. Harland talks about his new movie Wingman and upcoming projects, inviting Joe to consider a role in a comedy film centered around redneck culture and mudbogging, illustrating their camaraderie and mutual respect. The episode touches upon the nature of roasts as a comedic form, emphasizing their long-standing tradition of being brutally honest, personal, and mean-spirited as part of the game. Joe and Harland defend the format against contemporary critics who mistake roast content for genuine malice or offensive intent. The discussion also includes references to how roasts have impacted social and political discourse, including their ability to course-correct cultural trends like wokeness. They recount the famous Tom Brady roast as an example of this dynamic and the broader tensions surrounding free speech and comedy. A lighter segment arises around gun culture, triggered by the mention of musician Kid Rock publicly destroying a case of Bud Light as a protest and firing automatic weapons, symbolizing pushback against corporate decisions. The discussion blends humor and social commentary on gun ownership, symbolic actions, and how firearms feature in American culture, also joking about how Joe might want to shoot soda cans for fun. Throughout the podcast, Joe and Harland reflect on family life, parenting, and their hopes and worries for their children in contemporary society. They unpack challenges facing today's youth amidst rapid technological change, social media pressures, and uncertain futures shaped by AI and economic shifts. A recurring theme is the emphasis on communication, understanding, nurturing, and guiding children lovingly without authoritarianism. Both speakers share personal insights about parenthood, work-life balance, and the responsibility involved. The dialogue circles back to the duality of human nature, our cruelty versus our capacity for empathy and creativity. They explore humanity's role on Earth, considering whether humans are parasites or custodians of the planet, advocating for improvement and balance rather than destruction. The discussion touches on evolutionary progress, cosmic destiny, and the hope that humanity's trajectory includes growth beyond current limitations, with AI and technological advancement serving as tools in this journey.